Hyperdrive MTG. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Hyperdrive MTG here. I'm your host, Austin. And today, I got a brand new deck tag for you based around Emrakul, the Promised End. Let's get right into it. So a bit of background before we jump into the deck tech. I started building this deck around 2016. I've been playing it on and off ever since then, rebuilding it from time to time. Finally, it's become a permanent part of my lineup, and I'm now very excited to show you guys my insight and my tech for building Emrakul the Promised End in EDH. My goal is to eventually make this deck CEDH worthy, but currently there are no colorless decks that are very viable in CEDH because of their minimal interaction with the stack. When I first originally built this deck, I built it as a hug deck, but then I quickly realized that the extra turn part of Emrakul's ability on its effect is actually not as huggy as I thought it was going to be. There are a lot of symmetrical hug and group slug cards in colorless. However, the problem with these cards is that they don't really do anything in these colors. The cool thing, though, is that now I realize this effect is better for taking advantage of people's turns and using their turn to screw them over, and then they will have no follow-up. Sometimes they will even have cards that will just straight make them lose the game. This is what I'm going to be displaying for you guys in this primer and deck tech today. How to properly use Emrakul's abilities and what cards to watch out for in order to successfully win games. Let's start off with the commander, Emrakul, the Promised End. Emrakul, the Promised End, is a 13-cost legendary creature, Eldrazi, 13/13, that reads, Emrakul, the Promised End, costs 1 less to cast for each card type among cards in your graveyard. When you cast Emrakul, you gain control of target opponent during that player's next turn. After that turn, that player takes an extra turn. Emrakul also has flying, trample, and protection from instants. The goal of this deck is to cast Emrakul as quickly as possible and start taking advantage of your opponent's turns, either to kill them or put them into a place that puts them at such a disadvantage that they cannot recover. If all else fails, your backup plan is Eldrazi Beatdown with your commander or other threats in your deck. Some easy ways to win with your commander is to give it double strike or double its power in order to one-shot your opponents for 26 damage commander. I'm just going to put a full disclosure out here for this video. I'm not going to be going really in depth on all the mono rocks you should run in this deck. Mono rocks are based on preference, and there's plenty to choose from in colorless, and not everyone can afford all the best mono rocks. Therefore, I'm not going to discuss the mono rocks you should choose. Most of them are pretty easy to afford, and if you really want to go in depth on which mono rocks to choose, just go to the deck list in the description and check out the cards either in the considering or in the main board. Most of those mono rocks probably will do you just right. Let's get into the game plan and how this deck works. First thing you'll do is play as many mono rocks as possible, which will lead into you playing your commander, which will allow you to take control of people's turns, which then will put you so far ahead and at such an advantage that you will win the game. Let me explain some combos to get your commander out early. A really good card in your deck for speeding out mana is Moonsilver Key. It allows you to get Basalt Monolith and Forsaken Monument, or one of the two, and allow you to start getting a lot of mana really quickly. If you have Forsaken Monument and Basalt Monolith out at the same time, you get infinite mana, which allows you to play either your whole hand, or if you have sufficient sources of card draw, you can just play your entire deck. Another card that is really great for cheating out your commander early is Geode Golem. If you have Ancient Tomb, Mana Crypt, or Mana Vault all in the same hand, you can play Geode Golem on turn 1 and have your commander as early as turn 2. It's pretty cool. It should be noted, if your commander dies and you use Geode Golem to cast your commander again, you do have to pay the additional commander tax in addition to casting it for free. so you can't just recast your commander over and over again for free every single time. This deck is about suppressing your opponents, so here's some lockdown combos. If you have enough Mana Rocks, if you have Erratic Portal and Ugin's Nexus out, you completely decline the fact that Emrakul gives the player an extra turn when you're taking control of their turn, and you can just take control of one person's turn forever. This is a really mean combo, and it locks down people really well. Another mean combo is Null Brooch with Unwinding Clock. With enough Mana Rocks, you can untap Null Brooch every turn, discard your hand, and counter one non-creature spell that your opponent plays. You don't need to have cards in your hand in order to activate Null Brooch, so you can just do this as many times as you want if you have the mana for it and the artifacts to untap. Alright, now let's talk about cards to watch for in people's hands when you take control of their turn. Cards like Spoils of the Vault and Demonic Consultation are common in EDH. If you use these cards to exile a card that's not in their deck, they will mill their whole deck and just die on their following extra turn, or there right away. Cards that insta-kill players, like Ad Nauseam and Necropotence, are also very useful for doing this kind of effect as well. If you resolve these while controlling people's turns, they are just going to die straight up. Board wipes that pay life, such as Toxic Deluge or Fire Covenant, are also great for nuking players out of the game. Cards where you name an arbitrarily large number as well, such as Necrologia and Wheel of Misfortune, are also really funny for this. One time I killed one of my friends by naming 69,420, and he just lost the game straight up. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all I got for you for today. Make sure to check out the deck list in the description below. As always, if you have more cards that you think that we can kill people with Emrakul of Promise End, please leave them in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts. As always, have a wonderful day. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, stay hyper.